This is the Fighting Through podcast, episode 75, Coffee with Ken Cooke, part 2. Welcome back, and we're just going to rejoin the coffee as Ken was determining to shoot 2 Germans in the hospital. Keep listening to find out how Ken's war progresses as he returns to action in Germany.
And I could see right down the marquee line, you know. And there's 2 Germans walked across. And I said to the nurse, "Where's my rifle?" So they're 2 German medical people who are helping us, you know. And there's me one.
To shoot.
Oh dear. I put on a boat back to England. I went to a hospital down south for 3 or 4 days.
Do you remember where that was? Was that Southampton?
Around south of England somewhere. I don't know in the hospital itself where it was.
There was a Canadian...
All I remember about that hospital was the matron.
Yeah.
She'd have made a good darts player.
What with those needles?
You know, with needles. You know when you go like that?
Yeah, pushing it in.
She didn't. She took the needle out, threw the needle, and followed it up with the plunger.
Seriously?
You know. Serious? Yeah. You should throw the needle, you know, knew where the mark was on your backside or whatever. Threw the needle and straight in with the plunger. The dab hand at it, she was.
Maybe she felt that was the most painless way of doing it, because the quicker it went in, the less it would hurt, maybe.
But then
oh dear.
They put us on a train, and we came right up to Scotland.
Yeah.
We stopped at York, because I had to look, and I was on a stretcher, like, near a window.
You didn't think of sneaking off?
I could see where we were, sort of thing, you know. I remember stopping at York, then we carried on. And we went up to Montrose, which is
Scotland,
nearly to Aberdeen.
Yeah.
In between, we were on transport from Montrose to Brechin, and we carried on to Cadrow Hospital, which was about 3 or 4 miles from Brechin. It wasn't a hospital as such; it was huts, brick buildings, like huts in rows. And we went in the first one, 29 ward, I think it was. And we put into bed. There were beds on both sides. And at far end, there's some children playing. So I think it was part of a children's hospital as well.
Okay.
Anyway, we put it to bed. Doctor came around and checking what was wrong and all the rest of it. And the following day, we were talking to the children, you know, chatting away to them.
Yeah.
And the doctor came round, says, "Right, going in the theatre." So I went back in the theatre, stuck a needle in, passed out, woke up in bed with a plaster cast from here to here.
From your neck right down to your...
And like a plaster cast here, with like a little prop underneath to hold the arm in position like that.
Your arm up. So you cast from your neck right down to your torso.
Just about near, you know, from there to there.
And then your arm as well.
An arm as well.
Strung up in a sling. You sound like that proverbial cartoon character that, you know, when they do cartoons of people in hospital.
Well, I was in that cast for, I don't know how long, maybe 3 or 4 days or more, you know.
Had you actually taken in an arm injury then? Obviously you did.
No, shoulder.
Oh, it was your shoulder. Okay, right.
Yeah. I was told another inch and I'd lost my arm.
Gosh.
So I had that up like that for... I used to sleep somehow like that.
Yeah.
And the nurse came and put a glove on my hand to keep it warm. Then about a week with the plaster cast on, it started itching.
Yeah.
You know, driving your crackers, you know, and you couldn't get at it where it was itching.
Gosh, yeah.
And then the nurse brought a knitting needle, You had to poke
tease up the
to get rid of it. Anyway, they cut the plaster off, and then I did exercises with my arm and that, squeezing tennis balls and what have you.
Yeah.
Different exercises, and they also gave me a knitting loom.
Yes.
Like a little loom thing, with some wool, and the wool was stretched like that, and you had to feed this piece of material with some wool attached through there,
backwards and forwards.
Backward and forward.
Yeah.
And I finished up making a scarf.
Yes.
Maybe about that long it was. I don't know where it ever went to, I don't know.
So it was about a yard-long scarf.
Yeah,
Was this a therapy?
All different colours it was,
Was this for therapy to help get your body better, but at the same time producing something?
Then we used to bump the floor.
Yeah.
The hospital then, they'd lino, polish.
Yes.
And the matron used to come round every day, going around the windows, clean that nurse.
Checking it was clean, yeah. Gosh.
And they used to lie to attention in your bed while she walked up and down.
We used to lie to attention in bed while she walked up and down.
They brought these, when we were able to get up, and walk about, it's like a long pole with a block of material on the end, pretty heavy.
Yeah.
And you used to push it along. It used to polish the floor.
Ah, okay, yes.
And we did that for quite a while.
Yes. So how long did it take you to get better?
I was up there for 5 months. Then had a week's leave. Came home.
Came back to York.
Came back to York. This was near Christmas time. Went back up to the hospital. Then we moved from there to a big house, massive house, about 3 miles away from the hospital, which was a rehabilitation centre, sort of thing. And we did different exercises there,
Yes.
And they took us to see a football match at Briton Town. You had those blue jacket and trousers,
yes,
white shirt, red tie,
yes,
and went to the football match. Then one of the nurses lived in Aberdeen, and she took me home one day to see her mother.
Yes.
Just for a day out, sort of thing, from the hospital.
Oh, that's very
that was nice.
Yeah.
Then I had 2 weeks rehabilitation, then 2 weeks leave. I came home and they was treating me for a while at York Hospital in Fulford there, military hospital.
Yeah.
And then I got a letter to say go to Leeds. Then I had to go down south, aerodrome down south.
An aerodrome down south.
Once Stansted, something like Stansted. And they put me on a Dakota and sent me back over again.
Wow.
And I joined up with the Island Light Infantry.
Yes.
Just outside Brussels. And when I queried it, I said, why can't I go back to my own regiment?
Yes.
He said, well, the 7th Battalion got hammered at Nijmegen. Yes. They got all split up and they went to different regiments. There were shorter men.
Yes.
And that's why I went to the HLI.
That happened to Dad as well, actually, because when he went back after being wounded, he joined the 1st East Lanks in Germany.
Hmm.
So he couldn't go back to the Green Howards either. Obviously, often happened, didn't it? They just sent you where you were needed. Yeah. So how long? When would this have been then? When you went back? When you went to Brussels? How long were you out of it to get better? 6 months.
I was 5 months in hospital. I think it may be about April, I think.
45,
when I went back over.
Okay. So the war was still... war was still being fought?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I joined up with HLI. We went to a place called Bockholt. That was absolutely flattened, was that place.
Yeah. And this was Belgium?
We went out one night round this place where we were and went in this little shop.
Yeah.
And we went for a drink.
Yeah.
There were about half a dozen of us. We went in and some lads said we'd have a beer, And one of them said, I could do with a shandy. I said, I want a shandy. Yeah. So the lady behind the counter, we tried to explain to her, half lemonade, half a beer,
Yeah.
Anyway, we got our shandy,
Yes.
And then one of the lads says, I bet we're the only ones that introduced the shandy to Belgium.
Oh. Yes.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, she'd know after that. Yeah.
Then, as we were coming out of this shop place, we heard this noise. And this bright light went straight up into the sky.
Yes.
It was a V2.
Gosh.
Somewhere, near where we was,
Taking off,
We saw it take off the V2, right?
I wonder where
it was. Not a bus bomb, it was a straight up.
Yes. I wonder where it was going.
Yeah. Then we went from there up to the Rhine, and we joined up with the Canadians.
Right.
Because the Canadians were there when we got there. And we got sorted out with all our stuff. We were on there for about 2 days, I think.
Yes.
Ready to go across the Rhine. And as we were just messing about with getting all our gear together and everything,
Yes.
and sat talking and what have you, me and this other lad there was a hedge. The Canadians were dug into the side of the banks, all mud guns, that lot, Canadians.
Yeah.
And me and this chap just went for a walk along this hedge.
Yeah.
And we were looking down at it, and there were about a couple of dozen eggs that had been laid in the hedge bottom. So we collected them all up and took them back to the Canadians,
yes,
who had killed a cow, steaks, an egg.
Oh,
it comes around, couldn't it?
Nice. It's funny how many soldiers' memories revolve around food.
With the Canadians, they came one day and said, right, we're going to round all the cows up in the area, yes, and put them in one field over there.
Yeah.
So we did that, so they'd be okay, And one of the sergeants, or sergeant majors, in the Canadians, he went into this barn, and he came out, and he had his finger in a ring on the bull's nose. Come with me. He took him to this field where all these cows were.
Oh. Gave it a treat.
Oh dear.
Oh gosh.
Then we heard this noise, a hell of a noise it was, like a screeching noise. And all of a sudden we saw this message from it. We were, the river was behind us, the Rhine. And we were facing that way, and there were loads of troops scattered about.
Yes.
And on the far corner of the field, this Messerschmitt came down. We could have shook hands with Pilot.
Gosh.
And a Spitfire followed him.
Yes.
I don't know whether he did him or not.
Can you remember seeing many planes around when you were in Normandy?
No.
Yeah.
No. Didn't see any on D-Day, really.
No.
Oh, hang on. When they bombed Falaise, I think it wouldn't have been Caen, Falaise.
Yeah.
They bombed we saw the bombers going over Falaise.
Yeah.
And they bombed that.
Dad said in his book he didn't see many planes throughout his stay. There were some.
There were some, yeah.
There was one day they got attacked by a couple of Messerschmitts, or was it a couple of Stukas came down and took out some of his pals, but no sooner had they done that than 2 Spitfires came and chased them across the fields and shot them down. Because I think by this time Spitfires had the upper hand, didn't they?
Then the following afternoon or the following day, we were more in our positions on the Rhine. We heard this noise, and I fell into the field. This jet plane came across.
Yes.
German jet. I could see the pilot in his seat, He just went like that. And someone must have disturbed him. He was going steady,
Yes.
All of a sudden, away, and gone.
Gosh. It's a good job the Germans didn't get those jets developed earlier in the war, isn't it?
Yeah.
Gosh.
Then when we went across the Rhine, we'd just woken up, I think, and these guns went off. Artillery. All along banks at Rhine. I don't know how many there was, maybe 50 or so.
Yeah.
5.5.
This was...
Bang, bang.
Was this enemy fire or...
No, ours. Ready for crossing the Rhine.
Softening them up on the other side.
Barrage going off over the Rhine.
Yeah.
That stopped. We got in the like canoe type of thing,
Yes.
And we didn't paddle across. They had an engine at the back, and
yes.
motored across. Then we went into some woods at the other side of the Rhine, and it was getting near night time, and there was quite a few parachutes hanging from the trees and on the floor.
Yes.
Where the parachute had gone in before.
Yes.
So me and this other chap, or 3 of us, got one of these parachutes and got in the ditch and...
Use them as a blanket.
On a blanket,
Excellent.
Yeah. Then we moved off the following morning. Oh no, before we do it, we saw a Dakota on fire.
Yes.
And we saw 2 jump out. It was about maybe a couple of 100 foot. All the blaze was a Dakota.
Yeah.
There were 2 jumped out. Then another one jumped out. I don't know whether he's shoot opened or not. It was half open when he jumped out. So I don't know how they went on, but
yeah.
When you see them things like I mean, there's no chance really in them.
No.
In them situations.
How much fighting was there between Brussels and up to...
Well, not a lot
river?
really. We didn't...
mainly skirmishes, sort of.
We didn't contact anybody till we got just outside Bremen.
Oh, okay, yeah.
We went into some positions that would, there'd been German positions. We got in trenches,
Yes.
in their trenches. Other occasions, we either got in a barn or in a bed.
Yes.
In some of these houses that we went through,
Luxury.
And we settled into these trenches, just chatting away. And on our right hand side there was a field, then like a road going down that way.
Yes.
We saw these 2 Germans coming. They're chatting to each other, going on, and watched them.
Gosh.
And we got ready, as they came round the corner. Right, put your hands up. One of them put his hand up. The other one ran like the blazes down the field.
Yes.
Going like that. There were 6 of us banging our way at him. We never touched him.
And he was running zigzag.
They just disappeared, like, you know. And the other chap, he was an American, German.
Okay.
And he told us that he'd been in Germany on holiday visiting relatives.
So he was an American visiting Germany because he had German...
He lived in America.
Yes.
Went to see his relatives in Germany.
Yeah.
Right. Come here in the German army.
Oh, gosh. So he got...
So we captured him, like, and he went back to...
I should think he was pleased then. No wonder he put his hands up.
Yeah. But another, I forgot to tell you. We were on patrol down this road.
Yeah.
We came across these Germans lying in the gutter.
Yes.
About 5 or 6 of them.
Yeah.
Pretending to be dead, sort of thing, you know. And as we walked past, you naturally looked down to them. Well, the one at this end, I saw his eyelids move. So I said to the sergeant, I said, hey, this bloke's, you know. Anyway, they rousted them up, like, you know.
Yeah, got them up.
Put their hand up.
Yes.
And officer said to one of the lads, he said, take them back to prisoner of war cage.
Yes.
You know. Takes them back. A couple of days after, I said to him, how did he go on with your prisoner of war? He says, I said, did you manage to get him to cage? Yeah. Chatting, like, you know.
Got
Said,
them
no
cage.
problems getting them there. He says, look at that. He said, solid gold watch. Solid gold band.
Yeah.
I said, where did you get that from? He said, one of them prisoners. I said, that's mine. He said, well, how do you mean? I said, well, I found them.
Yeah.
I said, he said, get lost.
So he didn't...
I didn't get one.
Oh, God.
The following day, when that one got away and he ran down the field, the following day we was in our trenches and then this racket started, rockets flying and all sorts going up from this bottom end of the field, like, you know.
Yeah.
So I don't know whether he told them we were up this end or whatever, you know. And then we got a bit of hammering on there.
Yeah.
The chap with me, I think he got shot in his leg, and I more or less half carried him to first aid station down the field, sort of thing. And an officer came and he said, wanted to know what had happened. So I told him, like, you know, that we'd been attacked and what have you. And next thing I know, I'm on a Bren gun carrier with a ticket on.
Next thing I know, I'm on a Bren gun carrier with a ticket on.
With psychoneurosis, which is shell shock.
Shell shock, yeah.
And that's when I came home. You know, like, went to Nut House.
Yes.
We're in this building, and there are quite a few of our chaps banging plates and tons and that, you know, making a noise and that. You know, all shell shock people.
Gosh.
And then next, put me on a train to Brussels. Went in a hospital in Brussels for a night, I think it was. Then I went to Brussels airport, got on the Dakota, and came home. I stood all the way from Brussels to England because the plane was packed. They had stretchers down both sides. You know, we're wounded. And people stood up.
Yes.
It was packed.
It's funny, isn't it?
Stood up all the way. I went to hospital in Queen Elizabeth Hospital in down south. Trying to think of the name. The doctor, after I've been there a couple of days, he came around and says, I've got to examine you regarding getting demobbed.
Yes.
Anyway, went in his office, stripped off, examined me. He said, when did you get wounded? I said, last July in Normandy. So he says, you should never have gone back.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I said, now you tell me, you know. Anyway, we chatted a bit longer, and he said, do you fancy riding a motorbike? I said, why? What do you want? He said, well, we're short of dispatch riders.
So I told you.
Get lost, I said, you know. And he said, oh, you're okay. I said, yeah, get away home.
Dear.
No, that was it.
And that was the end of your war.
Yeah.
Just a very brief aside about Bremen, because Dad, when he first went to North Africa, he arrived in Egypt, and he was guarding German prisoners of war. There's about 2,000 German prisoners of war in Egypt, and he befriended one or two of them, and Dad helped this German lad get message home to his parents that he was okay.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's really, the parents were really grateful, and they wrote to Dad thanking him. So we've got all these letters. But he came from Bremen.
Oh, yeah.
This lad came from Bremen, and I actually tracked him down after the war. Oh, sorry. In recent years, I've tracked him down, and he survived the war, and had family, and I got a picture of his gravestone. So hopefully Dad's kindness indirectly helped him have a decent life.
Yeah.
And
then again, you get these other people. In the field hospital in Bayeux, there was a German SS fella, and he wouldn't take, what do you call it?
Injection.
Blood.
Oh, he wouldn't take blood?
He wouldn't take blood.
Yes. Okay.
Because, he thought it was Jewish blood.
It wouldn't have been Aryan.
But whether they put him to sleep and then give him some, I don't know.
Yeah.
But then another case where they captured some German prisoners, and they interviewing them, sort of thing, getting their names and numbers and whatever, what regiments. And one of our lads sat at this table, name, number, and all that, all right, carry on. SS bloke, come, big, tall, blonde.
SS, yeah.
Name.
Oh.
Spit at him. Sten gun, bang.
Really?
Put him away, yeah.
Ooh. Gosh.
But them Italy youth and all that lot.
Yeah.
They're right.
Gosh.
I mean, you heard stories of different things,
Yeah.
what they did. I think we heard about the Canadians, paratroopers. They got captured, and they put them up against a wall and shot them. And the word went round, don't take no more prisoners.
Yeah.
Yeah. There are quite a few occasions like that, different things.
If you give like that, you've got to expect to receive in kind, haven't you?
Yeah,
I think.
Happy days.
Yes, yeah. I know Dad always, obviously it was hard times, but there were a lot of good things to remember. Some of the fun.
Oh yeah.
You always made the most of it on the humorous side, didn't you?
Oh, when were it? We were in a farmhouse. Went down its cellar. And some bottles of
Calvados?
No.
Oh.
Creme de menthe.
Oh, creme de menthe.
Like a green.
Green, yes. Yeah. It's like what? Like
it was deadly stuff was that.
Yeah. Did you get drunk on it then?
No, I didn't. But Then again, if anybody had come, they could have done what they like with them, you know.
Oh, crikey. Yeah, that's a popular French liqueur, it used to be, didn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
There's some laughs. Well, I only got drunk once in army. I didn't get drunk then. But when we joined up at Richmond, did our 6 weeks basic training. On the Friday, we'd finish. On the Friday night, the sergeant said, "We're going downtown tomorrow to celebrate your passing out."
Yeah.
So I went down to Richmond next day, Saturday. Went in this pub. I'm not kidding you. I was heaving, sick as a dog, head down the toilet.
Oh dear.
Come out the pub. Richmond Barracks is at the top of a hill.
Oh yes.
Right. 11 o'clock at night, you know.
Yeah.
I was on my hands and knees. Halfway up Richmond Hill, I crawled. I've never been drunk since. Why the hell do they get drunk? It's miserable. You get headaches, stomach ache, all the other aches, you know.
You don't plan to get drunk though, do you? Well, you do.
Oh, no.
You plan that you're going to stop before you get so drunk that you get the worst effects. But by the time you realise you've reached that point, it's too late, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh dear.
You want another cup of tea?
I'm alright, thanks, Ken. Yeah.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah. Are you alright for time?
Yes, I'm okay. Yeah.
Alright. Can I'll give you another chance if there's anything else you think you can remember, but there's a few things I've got written down that might bring back a few memories for you anyway. Yeah, the reason I was going to tell you I do the podcast is because I've got some listeners, and there's one of them, Eddie, whose father was in the 7th Green Howards. So he's told me some tales from his dad, and Eddie Toms, and he might have some of the names I've got here might just ring a bell for you.
I can't remember names, Paul.
No,
you know.
If I just tell you,
I can think of people, but for names I couldn't tell you.
No, all right.
All that's more or less gone. Remembering names.
Okay.
There's one funny story,
Yeah.
about names. When we were in France, there were different notices that went up. You passed, names of villages and all that sort of thing,
Yes.
Village Bocage and Crepon.
Yes.
And I say to people, but there was one place we could never find. There was all sorts of signs everywhere you went, Acton Mine, and we couldn't find that place.
Old uns but good uns, eh? Good. All right. Well, I won't read you all these stories, because if it's not going to trigger anything in terms of people, I'll tell you what. There's one or two stories that are just good. It doesn't matter who the person was.
I'll tell you what her name was, Lavatory Pan.
Lavatory. Oh yeah, Lavatory Pan.
It was
the shape of the drive on Gold Beach. I'll tell you this one. Norman Wisdom there. Norman Webster. This is Eddie Toms, his dad. Norman Webster was a mate of my dad's who was killed in Normandy. Dad told me that they called him Dad because he was the oldest at 28 in the platoon, and he used to ask Dingy Bell, the platoon sergeant, if he could go forward of the front lines to snipe at the Germans. So he was so keen on getting at them, he'd go forward and do a bit of sniping. But then one day he just went out and never came back.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously somebody found him. Do you ever remember suffering from friendly fire?
Oh yeah.
What was that like, apart from the obvious?
Well, I think we went the furthest first day.
Yeah.
About 8 mile, I think.
You did, didn't you, the Green Howards? Yeah.
And the Navy spotters saw some movement where we were, and they sent a couple of shells over.
Yeah.
So we had to pull back.
Oof.
you know.
Yeah.
Plus, our own artillery had to go at us sometimes.
Wow. Yeah.
You know. Then the Air Force. So we were fighting on four fronts with the Germans as well.
Yeah. Do you ever remember firing at planes with your rifles?
No. We were on patrol one night, middle of night, and all of a sudden everywhere was lit up.
Yes.
One of the spotter planes had dropped a flare.
Oh, right, yeah.
And, you know, it was daylight.
Yes.
And we all dived into ditches or whatever, you know. I dived into one. And I'm sure somebody died on top of me. And then one of those 7-barrel mortars.
Nebelwerfer.
Yeah, Nebelwerfer.
Yeah.
Came over.
Oh.
And I'm saying I moved 6 inches.
From the impact?
From the explosion, wherever they were.
Yeah.
We heard them, like, you know.
Gosh.
I'm sure I lifted that with a bloke on my back.
Oh, well, that's all right.
That's all I can, you know.
If you were going to get hit, he would have protected you probably. Awful as it seems. But,
Oh, aye.
yeah.
Remember that one, and that Nebelwerfer, oh dear.
Morning minis.
Organ grinder, they used to call it.
Yeah. Oh,
No.
okay, never heard of that one.
Yeah.
Organ grinder.
Yeah.
Oh, dear. Any trouble with snipers any time?
Oh, yeah. Well, not a sniper, a German officer.
Yeah.
We're in this, like a street, and we're all at this end. And this officer kept popping his head round with his revolver
Oh, gosh.
and shoot, you know.
Shooting at you.
And we were all on the deck.
Yes.
You know. Anyway, about, say, half an hour.
Yes.
He kept us back, you know. Stopped. We gradually crept up to see what, you know, and he disappeared. I don't know where he'd gone, but he disappeared.
Yeah. Obviously decided he was going to, at some point, he was going to get outflanked.
Then we had another one, a proper sniper, held it up for about an hour till somebody collared him, like, you know.
Yeah.
Well, I lost my rifle as well on the train.
You lost your rifle?
Yeah. I forgot where we were going now. We're in the, like, cattle truck sort of things, you know.
But was this in...
The sliding doors.
Was this abroad or back in England?
No, in France.
In France, okay.
Yeah. Was it when I went back to Brussels? I know it was on this train. And we're three of us, I think they were in, laid down on the floor.
Yes.
And I'd propped my rifle up against the side of the truck, like, you know.
Oh, gosh.
Sleep.
Yeah.
Woke up after a bit. The door had slightly opened, the rifle had fell out.
Oh, crikey, so it gone through the crack. Oh. So did you get...
So I had to get another one.
Did you get into trouble?
No, I didn't get in trouble. No. Just signed for another one.
Gosh. Were you ever on charge for any misdemeanour?
I was on a charge in England, in hospital. Went into Briton on the bus with 2 or 3 more lads, and I went in a cafe and for a drink. A chap in the cafe, Scotch fella, he bought us all dinner. Then we had a drink, and I don't know how it worked out, but I got on the wrong bus going back to the hospital.
Oh.
I finished up miles away somewhere. I couldn't tell you where it was.
Yeah.
But I walked down this road. I had an idea where the hospital was.
Yes.
And I walked for miles down this road, I thought. Got back to hospital. Next morning, officer wants to see.
Yeah.
And there was a lady officer, you know. It was late last night, yes, and I explained like I suppose.
Yeah.
But I didn't get anything, you know, I won't charge anything.
That's good. That's good, because it shows a bit of compassion that, you know, being...
I don't know, I'll go on bus, I'll have to go miles out of the way. I thought, where am I going?
You wouldn't have done it deliberately, would you?
Oh, dear.
Oh, gosh. Can you remember where... Sorry, I'm dotting around a bit now, but can you remember where you stood or sat on the landing craft when you were approaching Gold Beach?
I stood on about the middle, I think.
Yes,
you know, down one side. I was on this side as we were going in, watching all the...
Yeah. Well, you were in a similar position to Dad then, because he was on the left-hand side. He said fifth from the front. So it's interesting that, you know, I don't think I would want to have been the second or third person leaving the craft, because the first one would probably get away with it. I brought a couple of Tommy helmets. I thought it was good. You could try one on and tell me if it brings back any memories. When was the last time you had one of them? In the war?
Yeah.
Gosh. Put your picture down and then we'll have a bit of fun with them. If you're up for it.
There's just some netting on top.
Ah, did they? Yes.
You know, netting on top. A bit of camouflage.
Yeah.
I don't think I used to wear mine with that. Used to wear that on the back.
On the back.
Ken's talking about not wearing the strap under his chin. I'm just taking a photograph.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Shame I didn't have a Sten gun to give you. Right. Yeah, I did read that sometimes they didn't put the straps round, because if you got hit by shell fire, the blast could break your neck. So people kept them off.
Yeah.
I don't know which is front and back. One of these is 1938 issue, and I think it was something similar. So the genuine.
Well, when I got to the HLI, we got more of a dome on them now. Then they changed these.
Did they?
Yeah.
All right.
That's the original shape. Is this?
Do you think that's what you would have had, or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the later, after D-Day, they changed the shape of them.
Yeah. All right.
Like a deeper bowl on them.
Do you want to put it back on again, and I'll take a. You know what a selfie is, don't you?
It's one of them, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pull a. Pretend we're looking at a German and we're. Go one more. Oh, that's excellent. Thank you. Yeah, they're quite heavy, aren't they?
Yeah, they are, yeah. But then again, we didn't feel the weight, sort of thing, you know.
No.
It was just like putting a hat on.
Yes.
Every day.
Yeah, you get used to it, wouldn't you?
Sort of thing,
I once interviewed another Green Howard, Wilf Shaw. He was in the 6th, and he told me a story about a helmet when he was fighting in Africa. He dropped to the ground because they were under fire. This was at the Battle of El Alamein. And he lay on the ground and held the helmet in front of his head, and a bullet hit it and dropped into the webbing and saved his life.
Yeah.
You know, so those helmets did give you protection.
Yeah.
Not always, but
not all of them,
sometimes. Yeah.
I've seen a couple with a hole through the side, sort of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. What are you going to show me here then?
This is our window.
This is a photograph of a stained glass window with a landing craft on it.
They got all the...
I've got my name where to sign it.
Yeah.
There's 3 of us now. Myself, Douglas Petty, who's Air Force fella.
Yeah.
And Sid Metcalf, was in reconnaissance regiment. Now, Nick, our go-between fella, been on about getting this window done.
Yeah.
And
so this is a stained glass window, isn't it?
yeah.
For the church.
And we had a few problems with it, getting it done. Anyway, he went up to see the lady. That's her name there.
Helen Whittaker.
Helen Whittaker. You better David Hockley.
Yes.
You know his window on Westminster Abbey?
Yes.
She did that.
Oh gosh, right.
And she lives up the road here.
Yeah.
And he went to see her about getting this done.
Yeah.
And at the time, the one of the television people were there.
Yeah.
They were filming for glass work what she was doing.
Yes.
And Nick was talking to the television fella.
Yes.
And they were discussing this with Eleanor about the window.
Yeah.
And Nick said, "Do you think it'd be a good idea if we got the veterans to have a chat with Eleanor?" And, and the television bloke said, "Certainly. What a good idea."
Yeah.
So we went up to see her, and she explained what she was doing, and we followed it up.
What a great bit of history. I mean, that window's going to be there in 100 years' time, isn't it?
Yeah.
And you've got all the history of how it was created. What's the name of the church where it is?
St. Lawrence.
St. Lawrence in York.
It's only about 500 yards from here.
Okay.
Not road there.
God, that must have been a delicate job handling that.
Yeah.
To put it in place without breaking it.
She mentioned about doing the work like. Said I've had many a cut finger.
Oh yes.
And blood on the table,
yes.
He's 97, 98.
Is he?
He's 96, I think, 97.
It's interesting, isn't it, that you've got people in the late 90s, despite going through this war, and it obviously didn't do that much harm.
Mm-hmm.
Do you still suffer from your war wounds at all?
Now and again, I get an ache if I've been lying on that side.
Okay, on your shoulder. Yeah.
But it wears off.
Yeah.
So sometimes it aches. It hasn't done for a long while now. I used to take ibuprofen for it.
Yeah.
That's what the doctor recommended,
Yeah.
But it's gradually worn off.
That's good.
You've heard of Eden Camp near Pickering?
Right, okay.
And it used to be an Italian prisoner of war camp.
Okay.
They're all huts. There used to be about 20. There's now about 30 huts.
Yeah.
And every hut has an aspect of the war.
Oh gosh.
Navy, Army, Air Force.
Yeah.
SOE, different things. There's even one hut decked out as a submarine.
Gosh.
And you go in the submarine and they drop depth charges on you.
Yeah. Wow. That's Eden Camp, near Pickering, you say?
Yeah,
It's
brilliant, the museum.
Yeah.
Every hut is different.
I'll check that out. Thank you. There's one question I wanted to ask you. When you were at camp in Southampton, waiting the day, can you remember being locked in the camp? Or just
no, we were told.
You were told
we couldn't go out.
Yeah, well, that's what I thought, because that's what Dad suggested.
Yeah.
But some stories you hear that they were locked into the camp, but I think it possibly depends which battalion and what time.
Yeah. Well, there was camps down there. There were locks.
Okay.
No, you couldn't go out.
Yeah.
Did I show you when I was a bodyguard to the Queen's father?
You were a bodyguard to the Queen's father. Is this a joke or is this a?
What?
Is this an old soldier's yarn or? Oh wow! So it's not a yarn. Is that you?
No, that's me.
You're a young lad. How old were you there? 16?
14.
14.
That's when I was at the ordnance factory. See the gun barrel lying on the floor there somewhere?
Oh gosh, yeah.
Yeah. We didn't know that was being taken.
Yeah.
Because Ernie, he was another office boy in the same office as me.
Yeah. So you've been in the presence of the king.
And we'd been taking messages to different officers.
Yeah.
And we didn't know who was who or whatever.
Yeah.
We just happened to be there at that time.
Yeah.
That's the Lord Mayor of Nottingham. That's the manager of the factory.
Yeah.
I think that's his chauffeur.
Yeah. Is it Edward the 7th?
No.
Let me read that again. Is that Edward the 8th?
No.
Is that George the 6th?
Yeah.
I'll edit the right bit in.
Hmm.
Oh dear, I'm hopeless on our royal.
Well,
I knew it wasn't Edward
a
the
couple
8th.
of days after, one of the chaps in our office, he came in with two photographs.
Yeah.
He said to me, "There's one for you, and there's one for Ernie."
Oh, how lovely! What a nice thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then he said, "Look at that cheeky little bugger with his hands in his pockets."
Oh gosh, you did, didn't you? I remember when I was at Bayeux with Dad on the 50th anniversary. Was it 50th?
Oh,
yeah.
was it on 50th? I was on 50th.
Well, yeah. All right, man.
The first time we went, I'm not kidding you, you couldn't walk 2 yards before somebody,
Oh, really?
like a drink with you.
Yeah, offering you a drink, yeah.
So some of the things we've done over there, we sat in a cafe and we were sat there talking. Two, I don't know whether Japanese or Chinese, young ladies. Go take a photograph,
Yeah.
So we sat there, take a photograph. 2 more come. 3 more come. 4 more come. There must have been at least 50, 60 gathered around where we sat at our table.
All wanting to
when Nick and Gloria came out with our food like
yeah. I think you're such a... I don't know. So many levels, you're attractive, aren't you?
Yeah.
You're a unique...
That
thing.
one went viral, did that?
Did it? That didn't surprise me. The Abbey Road one.
We just been to see the Piper on Sword Beach. We're coming back to the coach. We come to that crossroad, and one of our honorary members says, "Hang on a minute, I've got an idea."
They've stopped near a zebra crossing, a pedestrian crossing, and one of the members says he's got an idea.
So we all get off the coach, stop the traffic, took the photograph, goes back to the hotel. Our courier had his laptop. He said, "Come and look at this."
Yeah.
It's gone all over the world.
Gosh.
So 4 veterans, fully blazered up with medals, have crossed a zebra crossing in a straight line, just like the Beatles did on their Abbey Road album.
I mean, it is an iconic photograph, that Beatles Abbey Road.
Yeah. And then
cover.
a week after, I think it was a week after, we had a letter from Paul McCartney.
Paul McCartney, wow.
We were went to American sector, went to St Mary Glees, with the paratroopers, that one on the roof. So, get on the coach to go to St Mary Glees. I just said, "Anybody got any extra sandwiches?" "No, what for?" I said, "Well, we want them when we get there." Not Father on church roof there, has been there all these years, he's getting hungry.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, dear.
I just want to record a formal thank you, Ken, for all the time you've just given me this morning, because you've really brought some pieces of history to life that I wasn't aware of, and it's been fascinating to hear what you've said compared with what I know Dad did. And it's funny how many parallels there are, really. But on behalf of the world, thank you for your service. Thank you for your bravery and coming back from this all and living a good life.
Yeah. I've had a good life, really, you know, when I come to think. Only in the last 6 years.
Yeah.
I've had my cataracts done.
Oh, okay.
Gallstones done. Appendix out.
Wow.
This is in the last 6 years, this.
Yeah.
You know.
And you're still doing well on
And
it.
before that, I had no complaints whatsoever. Even now, I'm only on an aspirin a day.
Gosh.
And I give 25 pints.
So you gave blood
altogether.
Yeah. And have you stopped doing it now, or are you still doing it?
No, I'm not doing it now.
No.
Because the 26th time I went, what's she say? You've what do they call it now? When your blood's not
Anemic?
anemic. That's it.
Yeah.
So you're anemic.
Okay.
So we're not taking any more blood.
Yeah.
So that I stopped them.
So do you take iron tablets now, or did you used to for a period?
No iron tablets. No, I'm just have a drink of stout now and again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My dad used to like Mackerson. He used to feed
Hey.
it to me when I was a kid. He'd sort of put the glass down here, and I'd go around the back of the city and sneak a glass.
Do you want a tin?
No, thanks, no.
Huh?
No.
I've drunk Mackerson's for ages.
Have you not?
Yeah.
What, do you want to share one now, you mean? Are you going to have
No,
one?
you're all right.
No. If you want us to have one together, I'd share one, but...
They put me on Guinness in hospital.
Did they?
Yeah.
That's a
Bottle a
chore.
day.
That was an imposition then, wasn't it?
Yeah, bottle a day it was Guinness up there in
Gosh.
Scotland. I think that's what started me off on, Mackerson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they're similar, aren't they?
Yeah,
They are
yeah.
similar. Well, Ken, I think, unless there's anything else you wanted to add to all that, I think I've gone through all my questions.
That's my playbook.
Oh, yes, yeah.
Stated that.
Yeah.
That's your clothing. Now in different sizes.
Yeah.
That's gas chamber. When you tried your gas mask on.
Testing.
You went in a room.
Oh, gosh.
You went in a room. They shut the door.
Yeah.
No then, did you put your gas mask on first?
Probably. Then they put the gas in, then you'd be...
Then you take your gas mask off.
Yeah.
It was,
And you had to sort of...
try and hold your breath
Put
or
it-
whatever, but you did get some of it,
Yeah. Oh,
You
gosh.
nearly choked on it.
Long range group, third one down.
Yeah. That's when I went on the range.
Yeah.
You tried all the weapons, Sten gun, Tommy gun, Bren gun, Piet, chucked down a grenade somewhere, only threw one hand grenade
In the hole.
on there.
Right.
When you...
Did you throw any during the fighting?
No.
No. Did you have a Lee Enfield
Yeah.
rifle? Yeah.
See this here?
Yeah.
Right, we'd had these.
This is a list of vaccinations received.
So the 3 or 4 of us, we're not having no needle no more. They were toxic and tetanus.
Yes.
Toxic. And your arm was up here with them,
Yeah.
And we thought we had to get some more done as well.
Yes.
So we decided to put our own in and just screw ink. So
So you forged the entries. You little monkeys. So you got all this protective inoculations, the heading on this thing is, and you've got...
we had so many, all these, toxin, TAB, whatever it is.
And you've
No,
had first and
these.
second
The-
tetanus, tox.
So they said we were going to get some more, so we fiddled them.
I'm going to report you. The long arm of the army will catch up on you. Oh, wow. So the reason you smudged it was that so it would look.
So we'd had them.
You'd had them, but it was just just like a cover up. Yeah.
Cover up, yeah.
It would make it harder for someone to check, wouldn't it? Nice souvenirs, eh?
Oh, yeah. What telegram what my mum got when I was in hospital.
Yeah. Saying you were injured.
It's 79 hospital, field hospital.
Yeah.
Dangerously ill. Then
That would have worried her.
second telegram she got when I was in Germany, just before I got shell shock thing.
Yes.
She got a telegram saying, missing, believed prisoner of war. Then she got another one saying, as your son is missing, believed prisoner of war, we'll have to stop your payments. I used to send half my pay home to my mum.
Yeah.
Because my dad was in the army as well.
Right.
Right. So this was, we'll stop your payment till I got found again, like, you know.
But at this point, you were in fact in hospital.
Well, the second one, the one that was said about payment,
Yeah.
I was at home on leave when that came.
All right. So you could prove that one wasn't correct. So
Another case of MOD.
Yeah.
When I joined up with Navy Normandy Vets, their association, one of the lads says, "And you got a defence medal?" I said, "No." I said, "They didn't send me one, they sent me the others."
Yes.
You know, France and Germany 39-45. I said, "I didn't get a defence medal." He said, "Well, you're entitled to it."
Yeah.
This chap said. I said, "Yeah, I'll give you an address to send to." So I sent the address, told him that.
Yeah.
I got a letter back. "I'm very sorry, but you're not entitled to the defence medal because your time in hospital doesn't count."
Oh, honestly.
Can you believe that? I haven't got the letter. I chucked it straight on the fire.
Yeah, yeah.
You know.
Oh gosh, that's churlish.
That's MOD.
Is the word that comes to mind.
I'll just show you my dad.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. What did your dad do in the army? Oh, he was
He was in the medical
medics.
corps.
Yeah. My dad once said the medics were bricks.
There was a repatriation in 1943.
Yeah.
The chaps from Dunkirk and before, they were mostly Scottish regiments, I think, and they had an exchange, and my dad went on a ship to Sweden, Gothenburg,
Oh yeah.
Sweden,
Yes.
and they docked in Gothenburg, and all these soldiers were on the dockside,
Crutchless.
some no arms and some with no legs or whatever, you know.
God, yeah.
And they were no good to anybody anymore.
Yeah.
So they decided to repatriate them. And they docked. And the medical staff on the ship were not allowed to go down to help them onto the ship. There was German sentries all along the dockside.
Oh.
And they had to help themselves more or less
Yeah.
to go on the ship, you know.
So there's a Red Cross ship,
Gothenburg.
and it's to repatriate all the severely wounded soldiers that the Germans didn't want to have to
Yeah.
look
There
after.
they are. They're all more Scottish. Blackwatch and Seaforth Islanders, I think, was
Yeah.
in Dunkirk a lot.
Black Watch and Seaforth Highlanders.
And your dad was involved in this as a medic?
Yeah, as a medic, yeah. I mean, fancy No, you know, you're on the ship. You're a medical person, yet you can't go down and help them. You're on the ship.
Yeah.
As they say.
I suppose they'd be afraid of sabotage, wouldn't they?
Yeah,
Somebody
it
leaving
could have been, yeah.
time bomb down there or something.
Yeah.
Unlikely, but they wouldn't be able to guarantee it, so they've said, well, in that case you can't go down. I'm impressed with your medal set, that's fabulous.
You can't have them, sorry. When we go to, when we used to go to schools, talk to school children, you know, and they came to have a look at the medals.
Yeah.
And they say, what's that one for? I said, well, that's Weetabix. That's Cocoa Pops. That's shredded wheat. And the top one, that's Crunchy Nut, that one.
Right. You got, as in out of a cereal packet.
So I said to them, if you have cereals, collect 6 tops of the packets, send them away, and you got one of them. Laugh loud mad, did you?
It's funny, you used to be able to collect all sorts in cereal packets, didn't you?
Yeah.
I used to love it as a kid when you got a free toy.
Well, where do you go from that? We've got the PS coming up in a minute, so stay with me. I just want to say now thank you so very much for your support and for making the time to listen to me. And thanks in particular to Ken Cooke for making time for me and sharing your treasured memories, and for your service to society, Ken, which continues even today, albeit in a different and less dangerous form. If I hear about the resurrection of the play Bomb Happy post-COVID, I'll let you know. In the meantime, if you can get hold of a published book, Bomb Happy, that contains the script to the play and those very same words spoken by veterans all those years ago and repeated in such surreal fashion by some of today's young actors. The book's by Helena Fox, and it's available from most booksellers. So that's Bomb Happy by Helena Fox. Right now, we're in a period of remembrance, and we'll all have paid our respect in our own way. In small contribution to this, the following PSs are in tribute to the fallen. It's often said that the ones who died fighting were the real heroes, so here's just a few of them. I'm including a short soundbite from the recent memorial service I attended for the late Captain Stan Perry. The memorial ceremony went really well, with a large number attending and with some serious military honours rolled out by the Sherwood Rangers. And I've put a short video in the show notes for this episode on the website. P.S. I had a recent email from Michael Stapleton near Liverpool in England, and Michael said, just a quick one about the memorial services on Sunday. I'll be sure to say a little prayer for all veterans we've heard from and who gave the ultimate sacrifice throughout the wars we've fought. I've come across a little bit of information on lads from my own town, Knowsley, killed in action throughout the wars, and the KIA lists from World War I were very surprising, as my town was barely just a small farming community back in 1914. I'm not going to read all the names that Michael sent me. Suffice to say that they included both World Wars, together with Borneo, Gulf War, Falklands, Northern Ireland, and Afghanistan. Moving on to a few memories from listener Eddie Toms, whom you heard from briefly during the interview with Ken. Eddie's dad was in the 7th Battalion Green Howards, same as Ken, so these stories relate to the same time and place of the war. I did ask Ken if he knew which company he was in, but he couldn't remember. Eddie said, "My dad was Edward Toms, 7th Battalion Green Howards, C Company, 14th Platoon. He was known as Ned or Tomo. He was in North Africa but wasn't involved in the fighting. However, he fought in Sicily, D-Day and Normandy until he was wounded by, I think, shell or mortar fire in August 44. His platoon sergeant in Sicily and France was John Dingy Bell from Ashington. He was a veteran of the BEF in France, and Dad said he was the best of men. Dingy always picked my dad first when doing night patrol, something I thought Dad was secretly very proud of. He lost a very good mate, William Bill Smart, on 14th of July in Sicily. Dad and his platoon were going up a lane when a German plane dropped a bomb on the men. Bill was in the centre of the track. Alongside him was a chap who lost an arm. He'd been a barber in Civvy Street. My dad was nearest a dry stone wall, and he didn't have a scratch. He often talked about Bill, who he says was smart by name and smart by nature. During the Normandy campaign, the platoon was commanded by a Canadian Canlone officer from the Winnipeg Rifles. Dad said he was a bloody good officer. Another of my dad's mates was killed in July 44 in Normandy. He was Lance Sergeant Norman Dad Webster. His nickname was Dad because he was 29 and therefore much older than most of his pals. Norman would ask Sergeant Bell if he could go forward of the platoon lines and would do this on a regular basis to snipe at Germans. Then one day he never returned. It was assumed he'd been killed, and later it unfortunately turned out that he had. You've heard this next story before, but not from the first-hand point of view from the son. It was something that Ken said during our meeting that triggered the memory for me, and I think it's a story that's worth a second airing, especially as this version contains a lot of detail that I didn't have last time. It's about Corporal George Tandy in the Royal Marines, and it's a contribution by his son Kevin Tandy on the BBC People's War website. My late father, Corporal George Tandy, RM, on D-Day, was coxswain of LCA 786, 539 Assault Flotilla. When his boat was being launched from the ship, the steering wheel was accidentally torn off. Knowing the importance of getting his troops ashore, he climbed over the stern of his craft and steered the boat in rough seas to Gold Beach by pushing the rudder with his boot and instructing his mate on the use of the throttle. And he arrived only seconds late. When he returned for more troops, he was ordered back on board SS Empire Halberd to warm up. He told me that he was so cold that the tepid water they put him in felt scalding. He was awarded the Distinguished Service Medal, the DSM, for his efforts, and he was also told that he'd be awarded the Croix de Guerre Second Class by the French, although this was never received by him. Later on, he was greatly flattered by being guest of honour at the inauguration of the new 539 Assault Squadron, recognised as being a missing asset after the Falklands conflict. When Dad passed away after a long, gruelling illness, he was cremated locally. But we were requested to take his ashes to Stonehouse Barracks in Plymouth. We were taken out on a modern-day landing craft assault, an LCA, then transferred onto a landing craft tank, where the RM Padre said a few words over Dad's ashes. And we then put Dad back to the place where he always said he should be at the end of his days.
You've been listening to the Fighting Through podcast. I'm Ken Cooke, and I'm saying bye-bye now.